Yo, what's up? In today's video, I'll be giving my review on Space Marine 2, finally. But instead of the usual review format of talking about what I like and don't like about the game, I'll present this as objectively as I can to hopefully help folks out there who's still on the fence about buying this game. After all, it is a fairly expensive game that might not appeal to everybody. And to do that, I will break this video down into two different parts, reasons to buy and reasons not to buy. First, let's talk reasons to buy. The first and foremost, most outstanding part of this game is its aesthetics and immersion. From the very first moment that you start the campaign, you truly do feel like a 10 feet tall, genetically enhanced death machine. Everything from the sound effect to the minor details on your stunningly looking armor just simply hits the right spot. And when you first encounter an enemy horde, the swarm engine is absolutely doing the work, driving a seemingly unending horde of Tyranids towards you that you can actually fight and kill. But this vibe doesn't just end with the nits. Once you progress to the last planet and starts fighting the heretic Astartes, it just became literally pure cinema. They even brought the chapter master of the Ultramarine and the Lord of Change into this game. I'm just gonna let the clips speak for themselves. So yeah, if you're big into Warhammer 40k lore or just into futuristic space fantasy with a darker tone, you will certainly love the atmosphere of this game. Second thing that this game does very well is the combat system, and it is quite unique among most action shooter games. The foundation of the system inherits from the first Space Marine game, where the core gameplay strives for a balance between both melee and shooting. However, there's a distinct shift from the more hack and slash feel of the first game to a more tactics oriented gameplay where mistakes are punished fairly. So if you're someone who looks for a bit of challenge but still want to feel like a badass, this game will be right up your alley. However, if you're looking for the same feeling as the first game where you can just chain stun orcs and execute a heal, this new game system might take a bit to fully get used to. Overall, for anybody who's looking for engaging combat, this game is certainly worth a try. Accompanying the stunning aesthetics, Space Marine 2 further delivers on the vibe by offering amazing animations and sound effects. Every single shot from a bolter sounds so powerful, and every melee weapon from chainsword to combat knife to power sword to thunderhammer, they all feel incredibly satisfying to hit the enemies with. And each weapon has distinct execution animations that are just simply sights to behold. If visual of a game is of any high priority to you, Space Marine 2 absolutely delivers. Besides the campaign missions, the sequel to the original Space Marine game has introduced a co-op system where you can queue up to a group of 3 and complete repeatable missions and earn rewards to upgrade your classes and weapons. The detail of the system is fairly intricate, and I have another video breaking down the progression system and the best way to farm rewards. So if you want to know more about that, check out that video. Even though the co-op mission might seem simple at first, you actually introduce a variety of gameplay changes and additions such as unique weapon stats, effects, and game-altering skills. On top of class customization changes, it also stands unique besides the campaign with new bosses such as the Hive Tyrant and the Helldrake, and other interesting mission objectives. If you're looking for a fun horse shooting game to play with friends that also has a decent customization and progression, this game delivers. Although this game was never really heavily marketed on its PvP mode, the PvP experience is surprisingly awesome in Space Marine 2. Pitting the Astartes against the Heretics, this A versus A PvP mode follows the same template of the co-op of letting you choose from 6 different classes, but one major distinction that I would like to make is that if your perception of a PvP game is the likes of CSGO, Valorant, and Overwatch, or are looking for similar experiences to those games, unfortunately you will not find it here. What you will find though is the good old days of online gaming. If you miss the old school COD and Halo lobbies, this is pretty much as close as it gets. The matches aren't that deep. There aren't really any metas or the need to sweat it. They are just fun matches with, the internet's most interesting people. So if you're into that, this game surprisingly actually delivers on it. Although the aesthetics is stunning and the foundational gameplay is phenomenal, it isn't the perfect game where everybody can get something out of. And here are some things that might turn certain players off. First of all, if you are a big 40k fan and you love the art design being shown, but you are also hoping for a big expansion on Titus's story or 40k lore in general, for example, you might have the question in the first game is how is Titus able to resist the energy of the warp and basically come out of it unscathed without being a blank? This game doesn't really answer that. I'm not spoiling the game by saying that, but this game doesn't really answer that question. Or, in another case, if you're hoping for a complex storyline with side stories intertwined and weave into a massive narrative masterpiece, you might be disappointed that this game is fairly self-contained and straightforward. Although the characters are interesting enough to hold your attention, the brevity of the campaign does not fully let them showcase more intricacies and nuances to their personalities. Secondly, this is only an issue with the co-op mode, but the weapon balance leaves much to be desired. After playing the co-op for quite a substantial amount of time and leveling up multiple weapons to full, I can say that it is infinitely easier to complete missions with the family of melta weapons than both the melees and all of the bolters. It is the difference between blitzing a mission in 10 minutes and dragging your body through the whole mission for half an hour just to die at the very end and not get much out of it. Although this problem does eventually lessen after grinding enough mass so that you could upgrade everything to the highest tier, the early progression struggle due to poor balancing might turn a lot of players off from the co-op mode. And similar to how limited the scope is in the story and the lore, the enemy and monster variety are also fairly shallow in this game. And I can show you this by listing every enemy type in the whole game in one breath. For the Tyrannus, you have melee cockroach, cockroach with guns, big cockroach with whips, big cockroach that shoots small dicks, big cockroach that shoots big dicks, big cockroach that shoots butt plugs that explodes, ninja cockroaches, lurkers from StarCraft 2, mild concussion, overfed space cockroach, and major concussion. And on the Heretics side, you have the British counter-terrorists from the Counter-Strike game on crack, Mr. Birdie McBurface, Houdini on Royce that shoots fire, Rainbow Flag Hulkbuster that shoots rockets, Rainbow Flag Hulkbuster that cuts you up, and literally a space wizard. As you can see, if you play a fair bit, it gets pretty repetitive. The biggest and the main drawback of this game that I think many others who have played it could agree is a lack of content breadth. But this game does have a pretty promising roadmap showing that the developers are fairly committed to further enrich the existing content, and hopes are high that they might address the current shortcomings. And that's it, folks. For those of you out there who have already played the game, do you agree with the assessment? Is there anything that you particularly notice that are either good or bad with the game? Comment down below, drop a like if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe to the channel. Later!